Happy Saturday, everybody. Crusty Old Crow stopping by to do a hot mic, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kicking off my Saturday right now, and I'm just spooling up. I've got my coffee. I've had my ease into the friggin' morning since 5:30 this morning. I'm not going to get into why I was up at 5:30 this morning, but it's not an old man thing. It's an annoying cat, and it's a kid that can't remember to turn off an alarm, and he had a plan this morning to wake up for his alarm. They didn't, and I did. So I've been up since 5, and here I am. It's now closer to almost 9 here in Ottawa, and I'm gonna sit in and get a day of painting done. I'm gonna bash some stuff off because I wasn't able to get much done yesterday. So Crow's gonna stay busy today, and he's got a couple of projects I'm hoping might even be ready to have a glimpse maybe by tomorrow, maybe by tonight if I get a lot done. But reminding myself, I work on like 4 figs at a time and a large project. Like those are the focus. So I mean, as soon as I'm done my Cobra display, I've got to go back to the hovercraft, and then I've got more stuff to go. And in between that, I have no less than 4 to 5 figures on the go at a time, and I'm working on them in sections. Seems to be working with my ADHD and my just overall passion for ripping things apart and putting them back together. So what am I showing you today, guys? Well, I'm gonna show you how I break down a gung ho. Like I'm breaking down the gung ho. I mean, you'll probably see a lot of guys break it down. I'm breaking it down. But first I wanted to show you something cool I didn't talk about on my shopping episode on Thursday. Oh geez, I'm just knocking all my bits over. Bits. Never thought I'd talk about bits with this line. That's a tabletop gamer term. The bits box. For anybody who ever played like the Warhammer series or BattleTech or Star Wars Legion or any of those tabletop games. Flames of War, that's another big one. When you start building these tabletop armies, you get a lot of extra pieces left over, and you have to start what's called a bits box. And anytime you want to build something or convert something for your game, if it's upgraded or updated or whatever, you're bored and you're feeling creative, you go into your bits box, right? I never thought I'd have a bits box for this 6-inch classified line by Hasbro, but I do. I have quite the bits box going now because I have bought figures just to do things with, and I have fixed figures that I thought were, well, I know I had a QC issue with the figure, so I fixed it. I've done things, and I've slowly gone from just fixing them to doing flat out conversions, and you guys have seen that. But I wanted to talk about this. If anybody out there, and I know like digital diarrhea, I don't need to tell you about this stuff, and all you photographers and diorama guys, you probably already know about this. For all you guys that are just getting into the Joe line and just exploring stuff like this, or want to try doing things, I picked this up because I've been sizing this up on eBay for a while. It was a good price. It always was. And there's a second one. I'm going to order it next week. These are just backgrounds for 6-inch, 7-inch characters. And there's nothing fancy to it. I actually thought it would be a thicker book, but it really isn't. And it's $17.99. I paid for it Canadian on Amazon, and I got it the next day. I thought it would take 2 days then. And there's a list of all the backgrounds it's coming with, either your sci-fi, your horror, your military, your cityscapes. It's got a couple cityscapes, and it's got some corridors and other stuff in there. So they're just, it's almost like a magazine, but with nothing written inside. And what disappointed me, I mean, there's quite a few pictures. It's worth the $20 if you ask me. I'm going to show you one of them in a second. I just got to turn off some lights, I find. You definitely need to know what you're doing with lighting with these, right? Like casting shadows and things like that. I just have a quick setup. That's not how when I show it to you, it's not how I would do it if I was photographing and things. I don't know how I would do it. I'm learning everything as I go. So I'm going to be experimenting with these and doing some fig shoots. And if they're good, maybe I'll make some shorts and throw them in there. Maybe do some storytelling of all these dark places. But I was kind of mystified why they threw in a blank page at the back, like just a complete blank page. And I was like, okay, we're not going to draw our own here, right? And if we do, why did I need you? So this is one of the backgrounds. I'm just going to quickly plop off my lights. Oh, jeez, I had a figure fall. That's fine. He's not required to prove the point. But yeah, so there's the background of a underground tunnel, right? Hope, guys, I've been trying not to do too much mic movement now, or camera movement, because I found that every time I move this thing, that microphone is picking up something rubbing against it. But here I have it on the tripod, and if that sound's still showing up, I don't know what to do. But anyways, that's the purpose behind these. So you can see I got my Night Forest Falcon on a Night Forest mission. I had Wolf Spider with him, but I didn't put Wolf Spider on the base, and Wolf Spider's unbalanced without his backpack now. So I just wanted to show those because I thought that was a worthwhile deal, guys, for $20 to get some nice backgrounds if you're looking to do something, spice up your display shelf. So again, that's on Amazon. Well, Canadian Amazon, $17.99. US, it's probably half that. Anyways, I wanted to show that to you because I didn't have it available in the last video. And I thought, hey man, no secrets with my audience, right? I'm not going to hold cool things away from you just so I can have them for myself. Crow likes to share. Crow robs other nests and Crow drops the gifts. So what's the other gift I'm going to show you? I'm going to show you what I'm doing to Gung Ho, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I have two Gung Hos, right? Most of us probably do have either one of these two anyways. The original classified early line, I think he's number 6, if I remember, or something like that. Gung Ho, I got that. And I was really excited when I got that because this was last spring to summer. I stopped by a local shop I'd never been at here in Ottawa. And they had no G.I. Joe classified except this Gung Ho tucked away on the shelf, and they had it for a while. They were happy to be rid of it. I was happy to buy it. I have a Gung Ho. At that time, I had maybe 10 Joes in my collection, like just 10. But I was aware when I saw the retro card, I understood what all the things were. Retro card was the true Gung Ho representation that we grew up with either through the cartoons or the comics or our old action figure collection in the 80s. I mean, I had Gung Ho. That's how I remembered Gung Ho. And that face, more importantly, the bald head, is what I expected Gung Ho to have under that hat, which you couldn't move when you were a kid, right? But this is the one I had just bought back then. And again, it was part of this push to do some modernization with G.I. Joe, but to do it in the form of pushing their game, Operation Blackout, I believe it was. And it was at the height of all these MMG games on, like I think Fortnite or whatever, all very popular. So these weapons became a thing of, oh, we can make whatever we want, and people gobble it up. And that wasn't the case. It was... They'd crossed a boundary. With any other action figure line, we all know that would be true. Star Wars, I don't care. Create a weapon. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, create a weapon. Masters of the Universe, go ahead. Mask, sure. It's all sci-fi, but when you get into Joe, we're talking about, that's our army. That's our childhood army. That's our big fighting force. That's our relatability to warfare that we control on our shelf, right? So it's like, you never asked if we wanted science fiction weapons. If I wanted science fiction weapons, I would buy sci-fi. Oh, you haven't made him yet. Never mind. You get the point. But I saw a lot of things I wanted to do to try and get this down to a character I liked. And after a while, after I had both Gung Ho's, I had to justify what I was doing with this guy on my shelf entirely. And for a while, I'd given him a nickname, like I think it was a Bobcat. I always give something a nickname until I develop it, and then it's got its name, right? So I'm going to show you what I did with him. Okay, so now that I'm converting, I've done quite a few things here, and I think one or two of them might be news to you. Like, there's no news on how to separate our torsos, or the fact that I showed you before that these things have a second skin around the hip that you remove with the hot water, and you can paint under it and everything like that, firm it all up. That's all part of that process. I just haven't broken him down because right now I just firmed up exactly who I'm using that for, and I've started work on that, and I needed the torso complete. But when I go to do anything, I'll break him down further, but I'm not going to show you about that. I'll show you the very first thing I ever cut down. It was months and months ago. It was his grenade launcher. Out of all the weapons I had there in that pack for him, that was the only thing I thought could be salvaged and made, I don't know, fitting for this line out of a conversion. And even then I thought, no, it's still pretty sci-fi. I wouldn't prefer to see that on my character. So I just brought that out as an example. It's been sitting in my bits box for a little while now and never being displayed, right? So we'll get rid of the legs again over there. I will show you the head stuff. Okay, so I have always said this and I will continue to say it, right? Here's our Gung Ho retro. Damn right, proper K. Okay, and we took his hat off. Oh, look at that shining dome. Margaret Soul. What? Okay. So then we hold up this one, right? So the mustache, he's got that very different mustache, and he's got that haircut. This is Chuck Liddell, guys. I've always said this. This is Chuck Liddell, the UFC fighter. I'm not always watching UFC, but when I do, I'm having a great time. And Chuck Liddell was one of the first ones I ever sat there and said, oh my God, that guy's a monster. So very much like, hello, Chuck. Hello, Chuck. Chuck. I love you. I love you, Chuck. Okay. Anyways, you get the point I'm trying to make there. So definitely got some conversion. I'm putting this head aside for something right for that, but I don't think it's going to be that body anymore. I do know who that's for. What did I bring to the table to cut down, guys? What's the news? Okay. We're moving right along here. Chuck Liddell, Chuck Liddell. Yeah, I wanted to point out, you know, they should have just called him Chuck Liddell. Is it any more ridiculous than when they made the William the Refrigerator Perry a G.I. Joe? Or is it any more ridiculous than, say, our beloved Sergeant Slaughter, who is a wrestler, a professional sports entertainment, right? So could Chuck Liddell ever have fit into a Joe line? Of course he could, right? I would almost do it and think about doing it as a nod to just the idea of the mistake of putting a sports celebrity into a toy line. I would just do it. I'd be like, and here's my Chuck Liddell. Isn't he trendy and popular for this generation? And even then I'd be missing, like, he's what, news from 15, 20 years ago? Anyways, I've made that point. The hat, I did that for Steeler, remember, for a while ago. It just fit his head. I got that in my bits box for the right character. It's the vest, guys. This is what we're cutting down. We have to cut down this vest. So if you look at his vest right here in the photo, because I've already cut mine down, it's a very long vest because he's got a very broad torso. So this vest doesn't fit very well with a lot of other figures. I had this on Falcone and Grunt at some point, like trying to find a place for it with steel core helmets. Could this vest be for a steel core character in any way? And what I found was it just had too much mass. It was fine for the large scale gung ho, but when you put it on everyone else, it's almost like a petticoat or a waistcoat, right? It's not a vest. So that was good for me to realize, is that I had very little compatibility. And I'm going to move the camera up now, and I'll just bring the pieces up as I show you. It had very little compatibility with anybody else for body types. Maybe like we see, Sergeant Slaughter might have been all right. Oh my God, that camera angle. But beyond that, you weren't going to get very many fits with that vest. So it kind of gave me free reign to do what I want. So I chopped it down. I cut right down that center line, right above where the pouches were, and I followed the plating And the plating actually draws you a straight line across that back. And now it's shrunk down. Is it still a little wide? Yes, it is. Is that okay? Absolutely. Because if I add, say, a breastplate or something to a character, this fits on a little bit better, right? I also trimmed off that shoulder flash that was on this side. And as you can see, one of the pieces I did save from it was the mag pouches that he had on his side of the vest. I just relocated them, right? So if you look at which side is it? Here is right here, right? So I clipped around here. Once you heat you can cut this if it's, you can cut those dry, but I heat this up so it's nice and pliable, and I can work those scissors into the angles and corners, do 45s on a turn with scissors as opposed to having to fight against it. So I would recommend heating them up. But along that line that I cut, I took those mags off. I shaved off that Joe controller, and after I took that off, I had to cover that space up. So that's where those mags went. And yeah, so this is what I'm left with right now. Now I've got a perfectly good pouch, which is going to be, hang on, that's not a very good. Is it upside right? Let me look. We'll do it this way. All righty. Yeah. There we go. So just a nice little pouch. That's a perfect size for a chest harness pouch. Right under your mags, you could have your mat pouch and everything like that. But it's a bit deep, and it almost looks like a mag pouch that's actually empty of magazines too, right? So great little bit to have as an accessory or detail to add to another character, somebody who's got a rifle whose mags would fit that. So I had that aside, okay? And then I'm left with these straps and this piece on the back, and I can absolutely still keep using maybe a couple more details out of this at some later point when I have the plan. So who did I cut that mag down, or that vest down for? It's a character I'm working on right now, and I haven't talked about it at all yet, and I'm not going to. All right, when that character gets presented, just understand you're dealing with a happy crow or a frustrated crow, because I'm really hoping this one works out. Really hoping it works out. And so if you like this stuff, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, grow this channel. We do have a 350 contest on the go, and we have broken 250. Thank you very much, and welcome new subscribers. On my next video, I'll try to remember to name some of you guys and give you shout outs. But we do have that video, contest. The video you enter that contest on is actually just in my scroll. You look, it's called, I've got a sign saying enter here, right? The 350 contest entry page, whatever. I did that a couple of days ago. And in it, I told you to make some suggestions for a character you would like to see a custom made out of. And the rules are all in there, guys. And some of you guys, I was right. You know what? No, all of you guys that commented, I was right. I was absolutely right. I knew there was like-minded individuals who had already had firm impressions of what would make a cool character in their head, or just were able to spin up those creative juices and have a little fun. And I appreciate the entries we got. Remember, it's not me picking, guys. It's going to be Aaron, the toy enhancer, my YouTube fire team partner. That's what I'm calling him, but that's what it's been. I'm his hype guy. He's my fire team partner. If this were the 80s, and if we just lived maybe without a border between us, every Saturday morning, like right now, I would finish eating my cereal, watch my cartoons, pack up my Joes, and I'd go to Aaron's house and we'd go play. That's how it would go. But he lives in Georgia, I live here. So he's going to be the guy picking your winner on this one, and you're going to win a brand new G.I. Joe classified fig that I can pick out in the wild here in Ottawa for you. We'll talk once I find who the winner is. We'll get in touch. You reach out, we'll link up, find out kind of what I can do for you as far as figure selection out here. Like I said, it's going to be a retail figure. I can't go get deluxes or vehicles or any of that stuff, guys, but I'm adding to it the custom fig you described that won you the contest. Some custom art that I'm doing just for fun, and I have some 3D printed parts from our friend Loki Wartooth, and just a bunch of other. I'll keep adding to this little knickknacks as I see them. I'm just making it a fun prize because it is the 350 contest, but I want to have room to grow it reasonably for that 500 contest another time. So help me get to 350. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to show you a lot more conversions. I'm going to keep doing my figure reviews. I'm going to come up with some more stuff to talk about with Joe, because there's always something to talk about with Joe, and you see it. I am looking everywhere and going, oh my God, I missed this. Didn't you miss this? Did you ever walk away from Joe and come back? Is that who you are, or were you always around? I walked away and came back, and I've been spending the last couple of days just listening to nonstop Joe lore and having a great time. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. I got to get to work. I will see you guys on the next video, which hopefully is a presentation. All right, take care.